The fabric will tell us what needs to be done. The eye just needs to be trained to read the wrinkles or read the grain line of the fabric as we work in quadrants to fit the garment. In this series, information will be given on darts, their parts, the bust circle, and some rules on darts and pattern drafting and alteration. You really want to compare your measuring devices. When you line up your tape measure on your cutting board with your yardstick, which is one of the other tools that you'll need, you're going to find that, oh gosh, comes off, starts out pretty even, but by the time you get down into the half yard markings, look what happens. It's already almost a quarter of an inch off. It's 3/16 of an inch off, and the further down you go, the further off it gets. So you have to be very careful, because if you use your tape measure for measuring a body and then you use your gridded surface on your cutting mat for actually doing the marking, your sloper's not going to fit. Now look at the yardstick. Yardstick again starts out pretty good. When we get down and compare the yardstick to the cutting board, well, we're about an eighth of an inch off. So again, not everything compares. So what I did was I was going to be using the tape measure and my yardstick, so I compared those two. It starts out pretty good and only starts to get off a tick or so when I get to the half yard marking. Well, most of my measurements were well beyond that in the upper smaller number range. So when I got down here, it didn't matter too much, but as long as the 17 and on up was on point, as I like to say, they matched up, then I wasn't too concerned about 18 and on. I really didn't care if I didn't use those measurements so much. So do compare the tools that you're using and make sure that one is accurate to the other that you are using. Very important, because as we all know, those eighths and quarters add up to be inches. To begin the creation of the dartless blouse block, the shoulder dart needs to be rotated to the arm's eye. Draw a line for the new dart from the armhole to the apex. Cut along this line to, but not through, the apex. Rotate the upper left part of the pattern to close the shoulder dart and tape it in place. This will open up a dart in the arm's eye. Lay the pattern on a long piece of paper. Here, because we are using a quarter scale, I've taped two pieces of printer paper together and placed the sloper pattern toward the top. Draw in the center front line by extending the center front line of the pattern all the way down. Square a line from the center front to the underarm point. Square a second line from the center front at the waistline. And square a third line, which will be the finished length. Draw in the length as desired, say 7 to 8 inches, then square a line from the center front. Now it's time to design and style for the dartless blouse. Move the shoulder seam out 1/2 inch and place a dot. Measure and move the underarm seam down 1/2 inch and out 1/2 inch and place a dot. Using the styling ruler or French curve, connect the dots to create the new line for the arm's eye. Draw in the new armhole line. Now square off a line from the new underarm point to the finished length and draw in the new side seam. Notice the underbust dart is basically just released because nothing was done with that dart. At the waistline, mark in 1/2 inch. This will nip in the waistline to give some shape at the side seam. Additional shaping may be done during the fitting process.